I guess is like about 20 years.
So Tim was Robin from 1990 to 2009. I'll let somebody smarter than me in math calculate that. Oh, for God's sakes!
Yeah, which means Tim was introduced in like 88 or 89. If he wasn't officially Robin until 1990.
I think we're in desperate need of a new Robin.
Well, and it's funny too because I feel like Snyder was setting something up with Duke, and then I just went nowhere.
Yep.
Remember Duke Thomas?
The signal?
The signal.
He gave us a signal.
What?
He's just standing there.
There's just a tarp over him, like during the ending of '89. Gordon and Dent are giving their speech, and then Gordon says, "He gave us a signal." He takes off the tarp, and Duke's just standing there, awkwardly in his suit lights up.
Danny Elfman music kicks in.
Somebody needs to animate that.
Well, and it's funny. Snyder has a track record with that too because in the New 52 he set up that like Bluebird or whatever, and that character went nowhere.
Yeah, I also need to finish Snyder's run. I've only read through 0 Year. I gotta.
You can just stop there.
Well, I've heard. Yeah, that's the part of it. Is I've heard it kind of goes downhill, but I don't know.
I liked Endgame well enough, but
yeah, it's a good movie.
It depends on if you can handle that whole like analyzing his own work as he's writing it.
I mean, I am a Nolan defender, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like Nolan too, and I think him and Snyder definitely have very similar sensibilities.
Yeah, and Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan are very similar film directors.
They have worked together.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was I gonna say? Yeah, but speaking of Snyder, I also really want to read Absolute Batman at some point, but I'm just more focused on this stuff right now.
People say it's good.
It is okay.
I'm fine with like. It's not my preferred take on Batman, but I kind of like when writers go really ridiculous and over the top.
And get to just cut loose.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you saw him do a little bit of that with his All-Star Batman during Rebirth, but that's like also
bad.
That's also an in continuity, storyline where like he can't go that crazy with it.
So what was the deal with that? Because I've never read any of that, but I've heard people say it's terrible.
I liked Romita Jr.'s artwork, but John, correct me if I think that book starts where it's Batman outside of Gotham City.
Yeah, the whole idea is just taking Batman to different locations. Like the first story is him driving Two-Face across the country for something.
Yeah, I haven't read that stuff since it came
Yeah,
out.
no, I read like the first trade when it came out, and I was like, this is awful. I don't want to read this.
Yeah, because I went with that instead of keeping up with the Tom King Batman, because I've hardly read any Tom King. And yeah, eventually I dropped off. The one I kept up with most regularly, back to an earlier question, John, was Rebirth's Detective Comics.
I loved
those
Detective Comics.
Yeah.
No, I will maintain that was the best Bat book of Rebirth.
I think that's fair.
I only read the first volume of it, and I remember it being pretty good. Pretty good.
People like meme on the good Clayface thing, but I thought that really worked.
I'm cool with redeeming Clayface, depending on the story you're telling.
Well, because the whole idea with him is that he's more of a victim than just an outright monster, so why not?
Sure, yeah. And God, there are so many different fucking Clayfaces, dude.
Well,
Like,
and like that book doesn't forget that he was a villain. Like, there's a whole arc where he has to deal with one of his first victims.
mhm. Yeah, I'd like to go back and read that stuff. And I remember. Do you remember the big Monsterman event? Their update on that. I remember that being pretty cool.
Yes, I thought it was all right. I didn't have anything to compare it to because I've never read the original, but
Yeah. Well, the original's like just a one-issue story. Like that's an old-ass Golden Age story. And then there's the 2000s reimagining that I've never read, but I've heard it's good. Like, and that's like I don't think it's in continuity, but I've heard it's very pulpy and old school Batman, but just a longer version of that story. Night of the Monster Men. I still need to read that one.
one was weird
But the
too.
Rebirth one
Oh
is very different.
shit! It's funny too because so that is one of the few runs that I collected all of in trade, and the Monsterman thing was like a separate hardcover that I had. I don't know what happened to it, but it was a pretty consistent run, and it was fun getting to see like the real Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown, and
That was kind of different because it was more of a team book
yes,
Yeah.
than
It's
Detective
weird.
usually is.
Well, yeah, it's weird that they called that one Detective Comics, but yeah, they had to keep that name going somewhere.
I think that was part of my thing with it because I remember thinking like, yeah, it's good, but I want it to be detective.
oh god,
Yeah, like that's one where Batman Family would have been more accurate to
Yeah, they could have
what that
started a
book
new
is.
book called Bat Family.
I mean, there used to be a book called that. Just FYI.
Oh shit.
hey nerd.
Yeah, Detective Comics has never ended like that
Fuck.
in action.
Not one of these again.
Because for the New 52 was when they finally went back to #1 for both Detective and Action, and then by the Rebirth era, they just included all those issues, but then went back to the original numbering. So that's how you get to Detective 1000 and Action 1000 a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh this guy's freaking me out.
It's just a porcupine guy. He's like that dude in X-Men: The Last Stand, and he wasn't very
Yeah.
scary.
What?
Comics suck, am I right?
Yeah. Reload the fucking thing.
But
Not to be fucking kidding me.
I know it's a few weeks away, but does anyone have any plans for Batman Day?
When is Batman Day this year?
I don't know exactly. I think it's somewhere near the end of the month, but it's like
Okay.
No, it's like, what are your plans for Batman Day? I don't know what day it is, but
I don't know. I usually it's funny because I love Batman, but I celebrate. I don't make it a point to celebrate Batman Day, but I usually do something Batman related in September.
They also they changed the day, like that they never.
It's not consistent.
It's not consistent.
no.
think
Google
it's
when is
hard to-
Batman
Saturday,
Day
though.
2025?
What?
Can you repeat that?
Google when is Batman Day 2025?
Okay.
Google.
Batman.
I will say Batman is a comic book character created in
September
1939.
20th.
Tyler, what is everyone's favorite comic run? Bendis' Ultimate
Of all time.
Spider-Man.
Hello, stranger. Welcome. What
Hello.
can I interest you in?
I don't really have a favorite run because there's a lot of runs that I've started and not finished.
No, it's like I've read 3 comics. I don't know what to pick.
Pleasant travels.
I have more favorite like self-contained stories.
Yeah,
Take
that's
a
usually
look.
more what I go to.
Something's bound to catch your eye.
Like I love Ego.
The Living Planet.
Yeah.
Well, he thinks Ego did nothing wrong.
That's true.
Almost there. Ashley, I'm coming.
Well, and Ego's like just a standalone story. Like that's not even a mini series or graphic novel, right? I think that's just a
Yeah,
one-shot.
that's just one shot. Yeah.
What?
But I'm very much like part of why I've never like fully gotten into comics is because like the amount even within a one run the amount of stuff that I need to like pay attention to and like read all of can get overwhelming for me. For example, with like Grant Morrison, like I'm gonna read fucking Final Crisis to understand a Batman book. Like so
Yeah.
so it's just me, I usually just go more to like one and done stories.
Right. Yeah, not counting like graphic novels or one and done stories. I guess my default answer has to be The Walking Dead, just because I have read all of it,
Almost there.
and it's almost 200 issues, and I really like it. So
Oh, you know
Yeah,
what?
I've
I've
gotta get to
actually, I'm stupid. Ultimate Spider-Man is still one of my answers, but I also got to throw it to Invincible. I love Invincible.
still need to read it.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Kirkman,
And what we're finding out is that you two are fake comic fans.
yeah, I never really claimed to be a comic fan.
Yes, I find that I have like weeks where I'm really into reading comics and like I go through a bunch, and then I don't want to read any for like ever because I'm doing other stuff. So I am kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it's never been something I do on like a weekly basis, but I have read
Motherfucker.
an extensive amount.
Yeah, like
I also own a lot of comics. I still need to read it. That's a problem.
yeah, like my go-to source of entertainment obviously is the video games.
Mine's the motion pictures.
But you've never seen a movie. Oh Jesus.
Oh Jesus!
I really like this
Goddamn.
music.
You like? Yeah, music. I'm a big music fan too.
No, I like this music.
I thought that you were just like, I like music.
Well, for a second there, I thought you were. I didn't realize that you had misunderstood that you're like, yeah, I like music too. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Is he fucking with me? Is he playing four-dimensional chess right now?
We're just
What is
talking
this?
about our favorite mediums of art.
I do like. I mean, I do like music a lot. Like Noah and I sometimes will just swap music, and I think that's always fun. Although I don't think he quite likes some of the stuff that I like.
I like some of it.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like
some
System
of
of a Down.
it. Yeah,
I gotta listen to more of them.
you do. But you tend to be more of a, I don't want to say alternative rock guy, but like classic rock, maybe.
Yeah. Classic rock. Yeah, but then, you need to do your homework and realize that isn't...
That's what ratings are for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just look at the rating.
What we are so far past like parents having that excuse of what it's a superhero thing. I thought it was appropriate. Like Kick-Ass came out in 2011. Like
We've had
watch-
three...
uh,
We've had 3 Deadpool movies.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one.
There was never an excuse. Parents are just fucking lazy.
That is also
And some parents just don't care.
and many don't, and that's always people that like don't pay attention to this stuff. Like they're like, I don't watch this. It's just something to take my kid to. It's like okay, but There have been so many examples now establishing that just because it's superhero doesn't inherently mean okay for little kids.
I remember when I saw Deadpool 2 in theaters, there was like a little kid there.
Oh, there were.
He looked completely fine. He didn't look, traumatized at all.
Well, that's good. And most kids aren't. It depends on the kid, but like, come on.
Yeah. Do your job as a parent.
Do your job, parents. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, lots of kids saw Deadpool and Wolverine. That's why it made over $1 billion.
And I feel like that might be the most. Well, I mean, that movie's pretty violent.
It is pretty violent.
It has somebody skinned alive.
Well, but he turns into a cartoon.
Oh.
Skeleton Man. I'm not saying it's not violent. Deadpool 2 is probably the most violent of the. I'd have to rewatch them again. From that perspective, I do think Deadpool Wolverine has like it has the least amount of like sexual humor.
Yeah.
Visuals.
That's Feige's fault. He ruined it. He watered it down.
Yeah. This is also a completely different conversation, but I can't speak for other countries, but our sensibilities here, we have this weird thing where we think like super gory hyperviolence for children is fine, but the sexuality
But no
is
nudity.
that's where we draw the line and say that's bad.
Well, violence is fine for kids.
We saw how you turned out.
Yeah.
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it.
We also hit this weird point where like the way we'd skirt around ratings with like
None left.
get shot, but if there's a blood splatter, that makes it R. And it got to a point where people did like statistics on like the amounts of like explosions and gun violence and stuff, where it's like PG-13 movies as a whole considerably more violent than modern R-rated movies by like a lot.
It just
Like,
has all the teeth taken out, all the
Yeah.
blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people argue that it's more desensitizing to see considerable amounts of like gun violence and just violence in general, like superhero movies or whatever, and not see gore attached to it, because then you're not seeing like as graphic
The
consequences.
consequence.
Like you're not
Yeah.
seeing the reality of it. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because to my knowledge, people who saw like RoboCop as a kid, for the most part, weren't like traumatized, but they like it made an impression. It was like fuck, like it's like whoa, you know?
Yeah, like the Ed 209 scene.
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Tyler, what was the movie that used to scare you when you were a kid? Creepshow 2.
For one segment specifically. I
Yes.
think.
It lives in my head to this day.
It's a great segment. Noah, have you seen Creepshow 2 yet?
No, I'm gonna try to watch both Creep shows next month, because I still haven't
Hell
seen
yeah.
those.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Creepshow 2 is a mixed bag and kind of bad, but it has one great segment in it. I don't even want to tell you what happens in it.
Okay.
Jedi could just say there's one great. It's the Raft one. It's called the Raft, I think. And that's based on a Stephen King. And that's based on a Stephen King story, right?
Think so? Alright, it's either that or he wrote the screenplay. I don't
Or you just
remember.
wrote it. Yeah.
He
That's
writes
getting
the
a
first
4K
one,
from yes, that's Romero and King.
That's pretty
He's work there were
You can do
Arrow is releasing a 4K of Creepshow 2, and I'm kind of tempted, but I only like the one that's short.
Yeah. Can you release the short in 4K as like a bonus feature on the first movie?
Yeah, and I have the really nice steelbook of the first movie from Scream, and I have yet to watch that transfer.
Yeah.
I
I
noticed though
love
that
Creepshow.
Creepshow 2 specifically is like always streaming on everywhere, like for free all the time.
Yeah. I might have seen it before I saw the first one, just because it was on Netflix.
Yeah, so I was looking on Just Watch to see if the first one was streaming, because, you know, I want to watch. And it's like, no, I have to rent that. But it's like, then I look at the second one, and it's like on YouTube, Prime, Tubi.
But Noah, I have a
Pluto.
question for you about Creepshow.
What's that?
Are you gonna watch Creepshow 3?
Oh,
Is there a
I've never
first?
seen- Kind of.
Pull up
God,
pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Okay. It's 2006. Where's the Rotten Tomatoes? Yeah, it's got 0%. Look at that.
Yeah,
Ashley,
it's that good.
So apparently, so in Creepshow 3, like, most people don't count it, just because it was,
It has
might have
nothing to
been
do with the
directed-
others.
It has nothing to do, it had no involvement from King or Romero,
do you
who worked on those movies. And, according to Wikipedia, in Creepshow 3, the stories are directly connected, with some characters appearing in multiple segments.
Oof.
So they didn't even get the anthology format right.
That's not a real anthology.
No, I've heard
Cool.
it's just like a cheap cash grab.
Yeah, like, a good version of that is the original 70s Tales of the Crypt movie. But that tells you, like, from the get-go what kind of anthology it is and how the characters are connected. And then we just follow each other's stories individually. I want to make you guys watch that at some point. The 70s Tales of the Crypt is really good.
I maintain, however, that Creepshow 2 has one of the greatest posters of all time.
It's so good. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What's happening?
Oh, God.
Leon! Go!
Leon!
Take a shot every time someone says Leon's name.
So that's something I want to talk about early on, was that what I've heard a lot is that people much prefer this Ashley voice because they don't find her as annoying as the first one. I think she's good. I maybe agree that she's better. I wouldn't say I find her less annoying.
Ashley.
I find her
how
less
do you
annoying.
Okay.
I don't find her particularly less or more annoying.
Yeah.
So okay, I like this remake a lot, mostly because I think it's just really fun to play.
This way.
One of the things that does kind of bug me is I feel like Ashley's characterization is a direct response to the memes about the original.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Oh
Well, in
my
some
God.
ways she feels like less of a character. I kind of keep forgetting that she's around in this version. It's like, oh yeah, right. That's the mission.
To be fair, part of it is because we're wearing the armor, so she's never in danger.
Yeah, that is a factor.
But
That's fair.
Speaking of which, it looks like Leon's having a hell of a time trying to carry her right now.
but Noah, that is the original Creepshow 2 poster I just sent you. My
Yeah,
dad had a
I've seen that.
VHS with that, and I was like, it was one of those things where I really want to watch it because it looks cool, but it also kind of looks scary. And then he put it on, and I was right; it was scary.
Aww.
That was
scary.
Oh god, because I was 4 or 5. One is a much better film, though.
Yeah.
I guess to answer Tyler's question, a movie that scared me when I was a kid, and keep in mind this was before I did not like any scary things. But do you guys remember the movie Monster House? The motion
Yes.
capture. The trailers for that scared me.
Oh no.
I was like, oh, that movie looks scary. I remember like trailer for that before some movie that I was seeing, and I had to walk out of the theater.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, but then I watched it, around when it came.
Yeah, like I can think of specific moments in movies that scared me when I was a little kid. Like, oh, I found that scene scary, but not that many. Like, oh, that was traumatizing, or like ruined the whole movie for me, or found the whole thing scary.
Yeah,
'cause
and I
now
mean,
I'm
I have
thinking
some of those
more
too.
like that.
It's like, I've talked before about like, I was obsessed with RoboCop 2. I had to fast forward through the dismantling scene. Couldn't handle it.
The well, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the tunnel scene scared me.
Oh, that's always been my favorite scene.
It's classic.
The forest scene in Snow White with all the
Like I told you.
Now we know
was
why
creepy.
Noah prefers the Tim Burton version.
Oh, he's like, they fixed it. They took the scary scene
Yeah.
out. I don't know. When I was a little kid, the Bumble and the Rudolph special was pretty scary.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that special is so fucking funny. It's like,
Why
were you
at elf practice?
it's so weird.
It's peak though. It was on every Christmas.
Yep.
I haven't seen it in years though. Just
I
'cause-
love this
purely for
cutscene
the
with this
fact that I
armor.
don't have TV anymore.
Did you just say you don't have a TV?
I don't. I mean, I don't have cable.
I
There
love
you go.
this cutscene with the armor because that didn't even touch her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was like, wait, what's happening? Oh.
Well,
But like, I was pretty young when I saw the original Creature from the Black Lagoon. Like, did it scare me? Yes. I also really liked it, and I did rewatch it. Like, it wasn't like a traumatizing type of
I
thing.
thought you were gonna die.
Okay.
Even the first Jurassic Park, I both really loved it and also found it pretty fucking scary.
yeah.
In a few
So
scenes.
one thing I do remember is when I went to see The Lost World in theaters,
Can you
I would
stand?
dart for the door every time the T-Rex came on screen.
Well, and I think that's why, because I'm similar to Noah, where this was not my genre growing up. I was very scared and so much more into superheroes and other things. That's definitely a factor why when I was a kid, like The Lost World was my least favorite
I'll be out
of the three. Just because it is the darkest
Oh,
and the most intense of them, and I
well, it's
much
good that
prefer
you came
three.
around.
Yeah. No, I mean I like all three of those movies still.
Yeah.
But 2 was just, I think, a little too intense for
We're
me
alive.
when I first watched
Thanks
it.
to him.
Noah, when are we gonna watch The Lost World? Noah,
What?
when are we gonna watch The Lost World?
Now, why would I do something like that?
Because it's peak.
But like, it seems like when Peter Stormare is getting chewed up by the compies, and like the wolf bites his lip and rips his lip off, like shit like that was like really intense for me when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god. Dinosaurs are scary.
They're spooky.
Noah,
But
when are we gonna watch The Lost World?
are you still on this?
I'm just
I
imagining
can't be
the scene-
reasoned with. I can't be bargained with.
No, I remember that scene in Halloween when Michael Myers has like the ghost sheet on him because he's pretending to be Bob. And he has the glasses on. It's really spooky. Now imagine that scene if it was like a velociraptor.
Sorry.
Like I
Not
said,
take that, and then
Velociraptor.
when it pulls the sheet off, the raptor goes, Alan.
Yes.
Ellen.
You're getting good at that.
Oh my god, there's totally a velociraptor in my room.
You know, the original Jaws, that was pretty scary.
You never
Yeah.
That
Yeah, and
I will
I
say-
didn't see that until recently.
But I think more than any other movie has had like the most tangible impact on the rest of my life, or an affirmation for me that I don't fuck with the ocean. It's not beaches and all. That is not my thing.
Yeah.
The movie's a big factor.
Fair enough. I don't like swimming at the beach, but I can go there to relax.
Was it a nude beach, Noah?
look at this place.
No.
That woman.
You can't just ask someone that.
Why not?
Oh, I'm sure she's fine. She's not the type to roll over that easy.
Okay, Robert. I don't remember if we've talked about this, and I don't remember your answer. What was your first scary picture that, like, ever?
The Creature from the Black Lagoon is definitely an old. Like, cause
Oh, you kicked it old school.
yeah, like I said, my best friend's family was like really into that stuff, and I think that's the first one we watched. Cause yeah, I'm not trying to not count like kid specials,
Yeah.
spooky stuff like
Yeah.
that, like actual scary movies. Like that's
Like a
an early
proper
one.
horror movie.
Yeah, Jaws is an early one. Yeah, and like this isn't to the earlier question, because this is going to be my first horror movie, but I Am Legend really fucked me up when I was a kid.
No!
Oh
No!
yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah, and
I
I
still
like
have
that
to see that.
movie.
Oh!
Yeah, watch the director's cut, please.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
That is like the post. We talk all the time about like test audiences and if they're good or bad for a movie, and it usually just comes down to like what you do with that information and if you believe in the film or not. That is one of the worst examples of people going, "Oh, the test audiences didn't like the ending. Okay, let's just fuck it up and completely miss." The
Don't
message
listen to
of the
such
story.
audience. They don't know shit.
They wanted to cut the squirrel out of Superman.
I love that
Idiots.
like nearly every test screening had that as a note, like stuck to his guns and was like, no,
James Gunn's.
his James Guns, and he was like, no,
I'm keeping that one.
and even like after the movies come out, I've heard here and there heard complain about the squirrel, and I'm like, no, it's great.
It's so good. Why? I don't get why. It's such a brief moment too. Like it's weird that bothers people. Like, oh, it's too goofy. It lost me. I was cool with the dog and the robots, but
Yeah.
Superman saved a squirrel.
Newsflash:
That too goofy.
Superman's pretty fucking goofy, so get used to it.
Get real.
Yes. Like, I'm sorry.
Well, again, that's one of those things where I don't know how sincere that is of a complaint, or is it just, I have to find something wrong with this movie.
That's
I
fair,
love the
but, like,
squirrel.
It did come up a lot.
I think the fact that it came up from average moviegoers too, not just like Snyder cult people.
Right.
Stay here.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, it's just.
Also-
I think it's more just like that is a signifier of goofy. Like, yeah, because everything else in that movie, but it's like that is going too far for some reason.
Oh god, Ada just shattered her fucking legs.
Oh no!
Did you see that shit? She fell like 20 feet.
I guess Ada's not coming back.
Yeah, why'd you do that, Leon?
Damn, we're already at the final boss.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like, oh, we're here already.
Yeah, I might make an executive decision and just have us start the quarry tonight.
Oh, I thought you was. I just assumed you just want to do some DLC stuff.
I mean, what do you guys want to do?
I'll let Noah decide.
Yeah, no,
Good with
you
either.
decide. No, Noah.
We can start the quarry
Okay.
if you guys want.
No,
I'm gonna.
make a decision.
When do you have to take your break? When do you have to? Step out?
15 minutes to 10.
Okay.
I'll have this finished by then we can take a break and come back for
Yeah.
the quarry.
Then you can start the quarry.
Sounds good. Dude, that's gonna be funny because I don't even know. And John and people live chat don't spoil it. I don't even know how many like celebrities Noah is aware is in that game, but there's a lot of familiar faces that might surprise you.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I know nothing.
I was gonna ask you that about Creepshow 2 because there's some not Creepshow 2, Creepshow the original movie.
I know Leslie Nielsen's in that.
Oh damn, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that because.
I don't know what he does. I've just seen like
Okay.
stills of him.
It's so for a while that's like that and Airplane were like the only things I had seen Leslie Nielsen in.
For me, it was Airplane and superhero movie, and Mr. Magoo, of course. Why, it's Mr. Magoo, of course.
That really offensive, controversial movie.
Yeah. You could not do Mr. Magoo in 2025. He'd be too controversial. This is pretty different.
Yeah, it's a bit more Lovecraftian.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's very Lovecraftian.
Ow.
It's cool.
Speaking of Lovecraft, have you guys ever seen the movie called like Dagon? I think it's like Dagon.
Rockin'?
The band?
Rockin' like Rockin'?
It's like Dagon or something.
Bacon, no.
Take that as a no, because you guys have no idea what
No,
the fuck I'm
no.
talking about. That is from the early 2000s. It is based on a Lovecraft story. It is from the director of Reanimator and I saw it a while ago.
Cool.
Spoiler alert, it's not as good as those.
Oh, damn.
I remember it being alright.
He said it. He gave us a pun. I'll give you a holy body.
Oh. So, yeah, so Dagon released in 2001. I think it had like a limited PS4, but then it just went straight to video or something. Didn't have a huge budget. It's all right. The big thing that hurts that movie is not having Jeffrey in it.
I was gonna ask if
Hampton.
Jeffrey comes, yeah.
It doesn't have any of the Stuart Gordon regulars, and I think that really hurts it.
Dagon.
What are you doing?
It's
I just
it's
found it.
crazy. Like, but I was thinking about it recently about like movies like that escalate, that get weird. That is one of those, because you would not call where that movie's going.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
it's Lovecraft, so you have some idea of where it might go.
I think we both know this.
I'm looking at
Hey, hang on.
some of
He said the thing.
Yay!
I see.
Separate ways.
someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you.
Better get a move
Yeah,
on.
sorry, I'm done.
You
I
son
didn't know
of a
Bree did a
bitch.
cover of Separate Ways. That's awesome.
With arms wide open.
Sorry,
I like that
John,
song.
you go.
Until next time, Leon.
Oh. Noah, what were you saying?
I was just looking at Stuart Gordon's filmography. He directed one episode of Honey, I Shrunk kids TV show?
Oh,
That's
Well,
interesting.
he almost directed the first movie.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, and then according to the story I heard, he stepped out because he couldn't deal with executives.
He probably had to battle with Disney a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, he has a story credit on that at least.
That's just really interesting, just because I know a lot of his other work.
Mhm.
And
I've only seen From Beyond and Reanimator, I think.
We watched Castle Freak.
We did watch Castle Freak, which
Remember
isn't a
Castle
love.
Freak?
I do remember Castle Freak because that's not a Lovecraft story, but it does feel like kind of a continuation of those, just because it's got Jeffrey Combs and Barbara
Yeah, it's
Crampton
a
in
lot
it.
of the same people.
Yeah, I thought Castle Freak was alright. It's not as good as those two.
It's very clearly a lower budget film than those
Yeah.
other two movies.
Yeah, well, if you get to Dagon, that's the problem. It's really low budget, and for most of the movie, that's fine, but there's some pretty bad CGI effects in it, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
if this were made in the 80s, they'd be using, like, puppets and stuff, and that would probably be better. I don't know. And also with that story, like, Jeffrey, it has to be, it's a young protagonist, so Jeffrey Combs would have been too old for that role. And
Well, you know,
just,
he fixed
like,
that. Just give him a backwards baseball cap.
That's true. That would have been peak. But yeah, like, the main guy, like, he's not even bad. Like, he's good in the movie.
do you guys remember
Oh,
the
fuck,
jet
this is
ski
made, like-
section?
Yeah.
Everybody loves jet ski. Yeah. Yeah, that's one, like, I don't know if I'll ever pick it as a maybe watch. It'll be in my back pocket, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's like, if this was just made, like, a decade later, or a decade earlier and had Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton in it, I think it'd be really
Would have been a
good in the spotlight.
masterpiece.
Maybe.
Or would have been better.
Because even, like, I don't know if this hot take, I might prefer From Beyond to Reanimator. I'm not sure. Like, I love them both.
You know what? I think I do prefer Reanimator, but I can totally see that.
I also need to watch Reanimator again. I haven't seen it.
Reanimator's peak.
But they're both great.
Noah, have we ever done anything on Reanimator?
Yeah, I think we reviewed it for Shudder Shuffle.
What year did that come out?
Reanimator?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. That's
Oh
an
god.
anniversary.
Oh god. Oh god.
We should
That
probably
was it.
hit Reanimator this year, yeah. 85.
We already have a million movies to hit this year. Ah.
But I do want to do Reanimator this year.
That's fine. Did we?
I think that was just a review that we did, John, so we can.
Yeah, we just do a commentary.
I'm glad you asked that, though. One of the, I think, first videos I did with you guys, early ones, From Beyond, was that a review or was that a comment?
I think that's the commentary,
That was a
because when you
review.
first joined, we kind of shifted to commentaries.
I think that was a. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that was a review.
Maybe I'm
No,
wrong.
we did a lot of reviews, too.
Noah,
Mission accomplished.
check the facts.
Okay.
Mission accomplished.
They did it. They saved the world.
Thank you for saving me.
Don't mention it.
Noah, you're gonna want to pay attention to this
I can
ending.
put in word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested?
You don't need me. You proved you could handle yourself. Even if you could use a lesson in knife safety. Come on. Let's go home.
Wow.
The Miami Vice theme kicks in.
Condor 1? Roost to Condor 1, do you read me? Come in. I said come in. Is this thing even on? Leon! Leon, are you and Ashley all right? Where are you? Come on!
Leon!
Yeah. Okay.
No, hold on. I don't remember. Maybe it's a post credit scene.
By the way, it was a review.
No, Noah was right.
I knew it.
Here, no, this is what I was talking about.
Patch me through. I've obtained the amber.
Excellent.
Just one question. What are you planning to do with this?
We do not pay you to ask questions. All you need to know is a new dawn is breaking. 100 will give their lives so that just one may live. I am expediting that change.
So, we're talking millions of casualties.
Billions.
How ambitious? We're changing course.